Kim.
Hello.
How are
Hi.
y'all?
How are you?
Good. How are y'all
I wonder
doing?
if I wonder if I should change my name so I can put our school next to it. Would that be helpful?
If you can, that would be helpful.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh, you can rename. I see that.
Can I? I didn't think you could do it after.
Well, let me see if it works.
I don't know if it might not take
Hey,
all
let
the
me do it.
letters. Let's see. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'll change it to.
It
I'll just,
worked. Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Nice.
it'll be. They will put a little slash mark so people will know. There we go.
Oh,
There we go.
I'm not making that effort. I hope people know that that's not my last name.
You have a really long name, Kim.
I know. I'm totally worth it.
Your bookshelf is much more organized than mine behind me. I need to change my bookshelf. I like
Who's
your map.
mine?
Yes, I like
Don't. But look over here.
your-
I actually have and so here's the door to my office, and when the door is open, people who are walking past can see in, but they can't see that section. So I've arranged everything back there so that if they just glance in, this is what they see.
Strategic.
Yes.
Nice staging. Nice staging.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to stage a little bit better. Yeah, I
Yeah,
teach all
that's
my class. My kids see all this, but I'm like, who cares? They don't care what's going on.
Leslie, where is your school?
It's in Sandy Springs on Long Island
Okay.
Drive, right below the underpass. We actually hear we hear 285 if we're outside.
Oh, nice for you.
Yeah, no, but it's still lovely. Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah.
But does it sound like the ocean or something pleasant?
It does become white noise for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, that's okay because Darlington is right near the train tracks. So you can hear the train
Oh, right.
from a mile away.
Oh,
Just
wow.
down the road, so.
Right
That's-
outside my office, there's a, throughout the building, our facilities folks put in air purifiers. And there's one right outside my door. And when it's turned on and I'm in my office, it sounds exactly like the white noise machine that I listen to at night when I'm going to sleep. So I'll be sitting here in my office, like struggling to stay awake.
Well, we just got a new rooster at my school, so you should borrow our rooster.
Oh, okay. That's fun.
It was fun for the first day.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is every day.
Roosters can't tell time.
So the novelty wore off after a day.
Yeah, he can't tell time, but he's extraordinarily dedicated.
He figures
Yeah.
one of those times he crows is going to be the right one.
That's right. Hello,
We have
Anna.
several
and
roosters.
Pascal.
Hey, y'all, I've only got about 15 minutes until I've got to go
Okay.
to a calculus class.
You can present first.
I got nothing to present. I'm just listening. How about I just like put my bear up and like lurk?
Okay. We like seeing your face, though. Well, I guess we can go ahead and get started. It's just a few minutes after 1, but we are only scheduled for 30 minutes. So just to make the most of everyone's time. Thanks for coming. And there's actually no agenda or anything planned. This was just us, wanting to get together to follow up on a few of the things that came out of the last big meeting about racial equity. And one of those things was book clubs and hosting book clubs for faculty using books about racial equity. And Michael and I were joking, the irony here is that Stacy Brown right now is actually hosting a book club for faculty about racial equity books. So that's why she's not here. She should turn on her Zoom and we can log on and just, attend her book club.
Which book is she doing? Do you know which book
I don't know. She didn't say. So I guess I'll go ahead and start just to get the conversation going and say that I have hosted book clubs for faculty with books around racial equity, but I've always done it with Joanne. So every year, the school, for the last 2 or 3 years, the school has had a, well, every year for many years, we have a faculty summer reading program, and the faculty, it's funded by the Parents Club, and the faculty get to pick from 6 or 7 books that they want to read during the summer, and they get one book. So they get one book that they choose, but then they can also get whatever the diversity book for the year is. And so this past year, it was The Person You Mean to Be. The year before, it was White Fragility. The year before that, it was that Ibram Kendi book, his first one.
How to Be an Anti-Racist.
Stamped? No, stamped from the beginning.
No, the first one. Stamped from the beginning.
Stamped.
Yeah. Is that what you just said, Pascal?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. So I've always hosted those, but with Joanne, and I've never moderated. Either Joanne or somebody else from our diversity, equity, and inclusion team has done the moderating, but they've gone pretty well, and usually a bunch of people show up. This last year, we of course did it over Zoom, so it was a bunch of Zoom people. And I guess the only thing that, sometimes there have been activities included with the meeting, the book club meeting. I think for the one we did this year, there weren't any, but like on Zoom or other virtual platforms like Zoom, you could do breakout rooms if you wanted to, and if you had a large group, and just send people off in smaller groups to have a discussion. But it's always nice. I will say that Joanne always has some prompt questions to help get the discussion going. Has anybody else hosted faculty book clubs, either for or not for with racial equity books?
Yeah, last year I would think is since I've been at Darlington, so the first time in 7 years that I remember us, like the librarians, hosting the faculty book club, but it was for professional reading. But it was funny because we ended up reading Blind Spot, which really kind of does sort of dovetail into talking about racial equity. And I would call it a successful endeavor, but we're doing something a little different this year in that Melinda she spent a long time looking for articles for everyone to read, like maybe like 2 or 3 really good articles, like thought-provoking articles instead of a book, because as we've noticed, it's easier for faculty to sit and read an article in one sitting, maybe and then do it again and again, and you've got something to talk about. It was almost, I don't think hardly any of them were able to finish Blind Spot, the book in total. So it was harder to have a whole conversation about. You could talk about parts, and there were certainly good things said, but we were taking the article route this time. And I think it might actually be, at least for our faculty, more successful that way.
Are you choosing the articles, and how do you hand them up to the teachers? Is it digital, or are you copying things and handing them out?
Melinda's gathering those materials, and they're all either going to be not something that you need a subscription to read, or something that we have access to, that it's free to give to everybody. But I don't think she's finished collecting articles from them to choose from, because we haven't met yet. So yeah, I haven't gotten to the actual subject matter yet, but I know she'd already started looking when we met in September. She's still looking, so it's pretty in-depth search to find some really good ones.
Does
How are
she
y'all framing this, Michael? Is this for next summer?
Sorry, what?
Is this for next summer?
No, it's before the semester's over. We're going to meet. at some point. It's going to be like a lunch thing. We're going to get like, lunch boxes catered, so there's incentive to attend, and, people love food. So, but yeah, it probably December would be my best guess for when we're going to do that.
Is it mandatory or voluntary?
No. Definitely voluntary. I think you get more of I think you get a better attitude that way when it's not mandatory.
So we actually have both we have mandatory, and then we also have voluntary in our school. Last summer we did not have one from DEI because of everything we were getting everything set up with COVID. But we have read So You Want to Talk About Race. And we did that. That was we had two choices as a faculty, and this is one of the two choices, is the one that I have. And then we split up into book club in the beginning of the year, and that's how we let off in our pre-planning. And then I also lead the optional book club in our faculty, and that is always fiction that is just relatable to whatever. So we've done Underground Railroad, Nickel Boys, those types of piece of literature, but it's just more for fun faculty discussion.
Are those books, so those are both Colson Whitehead books, right? So are those the optional books also? Do they touch on issues around racial equity?
Those two that we've done last year are the optional ones.
Yeah.
This one, right.
Is that intentional? That's on purpose, that you're choosing fiction books that are also have something to do about race?
Yes, not intentional by the administration, by me.
Okay.
I'm leading the book club, so
good for you.
So I throw out a few titles, but my titles are all centered on DEI anyway. So
gotcha.
So it is for pleasure, but it's also for our intellectual growth.
Gotcha.
But I do have a question, and we can stay on that topic. I am looking for a really nice chapter book for third graders on diversity for a book club. Okay. So I'm having I can find a lot of books that have characters, but not something that really, and I really don't want something about the Civil War or something historical. I'd rather have something relatable. So if you guys think of anything, shoot me an email, let me know.
I can ask Catherine in our lower school. I don't know that much about the lower school books, but she'd probably have some good suggestions.
Okay. Yeah, they all have great characters, so like if you look at your inventory, you can see we have it, but the topic isn't about what we're looking for a little bit more of a meaty topic than a lemonade sale.
Okay, right.
On our side at AIS, we've been running DI Book Club for now more than a year, but it's voluntary. We started with The White Fragility, and it was run, I would say, through DI, but the one who was leading was an English teacher. And so she prepared each session by chapters to read together and with specific provoking questions, and voluntary. For White Fragility, we started with a lot of people, and then step by step it decreased over the weeks. Then we had another one, How to Be an Anti-Racist, organized the same way. And for this one, I think that it was more dedicated to reflect on our own institutions. So after each chapters that are related to, it's a intersectional topic. So race and gender, race and poverty, race. And so we had questions to try to see if we were able to find examples of policies or events or anything that could be racist, or how could we do things in a more anti-racist way.
Mhm.
So, and I think it was, you know, always coming back after the reading, coming back to reflect on our institution, to start to be on the action part, which was not so easy. So we did that in breakout rooms and had some kind of a recap discussion all together. And so all those 2 book clubs run before all the events of Black Hat. And then during the summer, it was mandatory to read one of the book on the list that we had, but everything that we talked together about, or we had the lottery last time, so but nothing was done with this mandatory thing.
Mhm.
And we will continue through the reading through the affinity group. So, and that's the same teacher who is leading this book club.
Did you get a lot of people who attended the book club meetings?
I think the second one, how to be anti-racist, it was during you know, the spring, and it was pretty much, yes, but this consistent group of the same ones
Mhm.
coming and joining. And we had also in parallel boot camps going
Mhm.
on. So for some people, they had to manage their timing. So some
Mhm.
people were reading but not going to the book club, but doing the boot camps. So a lot of reflection. And now we are more on the, you know, launching the affinity groups.
Mhm.
And some of them will be maybe related to book clubs, but I don't know. And that's something that I would like to figure out is from our last meeting, is how to be more visible as the library, because
Mhm.
everything came from the DEI organization and program. And if you were not at the beginning in the, you know, organization group, you were kind of left aside. And so I have to find a way that the library is really included and be part of this program, whatever it is, book club for adults, but also for the programming.
Was the library, were you hosting the book clubs though?
No, because everything was, so no, it was in different rooms for the first one, and then it was virtual on Zoom. So we experimented.
Did you have more than one meeting per book?
Yes. So we had a series of 6 meetings. So we read by chapters.
Gotcha.
So, and I think that the first one was about the white fragility. We were not ready to really be who we are and ready to reflect. So we could see that step by step, the big questions, you know, the subgroups were too general, and we were not really getting involved in the real thing. So afterwards, the leader, the English teacher, she started to really select quotes of the books and try to develop around that. So even if you didn't read all the books, you could at least maybe engage. And for how to be anti-racist, it was also very targeted, and it was really DEI question and how you relate that to the systemic racism or institutional racism, and look back to our own institution. So it's where, in terms of preparation, you could see that it was really led by the DEI team. When I don't feel comfortable to right now to run this kind of book club yet.
Yeah. And you also mentioned affinity groups. Do you are those affinity groups for faculty or for students?
There are both for faculty and students. I think there was kind of a prototype last year for students. Then we are launching, but it's right now you have to sign up, but I think everything is very, very slow. So we have maybe and it's voluntary, so you can lead this affinity group. And so you have some led by students and some led by teachers.
What age students, Pascal? How old? Just the high school kids?
Yes, it's mainly high school. It's mainly, and it's part of also the program that you know, with the IB, they do have a service project to run. So often they are leading those groups through their service. So it could be like only for 6 weeks or 3 weeks. So those students are leading that for a period of time, and they are helped with the DEI head.
You had mentioned that you would like to be more involved in hosting the book clubs. Are you close with your DEI people? Like, could you just go to them and say, you know,
Yeah.
How can I help you?
Yeah, so my point, the only thing is our DEI person is leaving. So,
Oh.
so when I was ready to, you know, engage, because we did stuff together last year, like library events about multicultural books day. I think it was a very good success through picture books. So we worked together. We worked also on the, you know, subject topics, how to mention that labeling, and so all about classification. So I'm meeting with her at the end of the week to try to find out what will be the next organization, and really mention that the library is a key partner, and try to find out how with the next person we can be more involved. But I realize it's my action to be at the center, depending on the school. But on our school, we need to shout aloud a lot to be visible.
What about you, Kim?
Well, these are conversations our school has had amongst the faculty for several years, and we've had a robust seed program with our teachers that I never did because it was on my days off, so I didn't go. But we just named a DEI coordinator this summer, and I have already, she was a teacher at our school, she's just changing positions, so I reached out to her. One of our challenges, though, is that our school has been going through a series of upheavals. We've had a couple of head of school changes happen, and some things happen in the pandemic, and everyone's too busy. For 3 years, everyone's been too busy for another thing. So it's trying to find the sweet spot of, I'm sorry, I'm at my home, and apparently my car insurance has to be replaced or something. Just trying to get traction on stuff has been a challenge because everyone just feels very worn down, very overwhelmed. And we finally were getting a real head of school instead of an interim and an interim. And then we have the pandemic. So, you know, I have the bug in her ear, and she knows that I'm there. And because I started with our last PYP coordinator in doing a sort of a diversity audit of the collection. And I'd like to do a more robust, real diversity audit, but I want to use the same vocabulary that everyone else is using. And right now people are all over the place with what they are referring to. You know, even just the discussions about, do we call it Black History or African American? That's been a 7-month discussion. So it's kind of like the wheels are spinning because we've got too many fires to put out. It's an area of great interest, but hasn't gotten a lot of commitment. So I love hearing that teachers are doing book clubs. Terrible time getting my teachers to do that, even when they're required. Required means a different thing at High Meadows than it does at some schools. So yeah, I'm gonna pull from your experiences and try to provide robust opportunities. Everybody's very excited and like, yeah, let's do it. Then nothing happens, and it's hard, but I'm still working on it.
Well, I think that's a great entree into a question that I've been having, which is how do you successfully host a book club? Like, what are the key logistics? Like, I still have not found the right day and time and you know, things like that. I usually host a book book clubs on, so even just not racial equity books, but we usually have a monthly faculty book club. And those are on Sundays at 4 o'clock. And because that seemed to be the best time that the most number of people could come. But I feel like that's still not the best time.
Mhm.
And so I struggle with just things like that. Like, what are the key ingredients to a successful book club? So if you all have any ideas or tips, I would love to hear those.
We're
And
trying that. We're doing a lunch meeting this year, and it's extra nice because I didn't know this at first. Everyone was just kind of to bring their lunch to the library and then discuss it, because everybody's got lunch. Everyone's going to eat lunch. They might as well do it while we're talking about this book. So that's like, a way to say like, well, you're not too busy to eat lunch. You can eat it with us. But our head of IT approved the budget to do the box lunches, which I feel like is more of a reason for someone to want to come, like Jimmy John's or something. And you hate to say it, but like it really is a motivator.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. Lunch is always good.
Yeah.
Our teachers all supervise their students during lunch. We don't have a cafeteria, and so that's their excuse. It's a pretty good one. So we've talked about providing coverage during lunch, and that hasn't happened yet, but maybe it will.
I did have last year. Oh, go ahead, Leslie.
Oh, I was just going to say, we have not done anything this year yet because of COVID. Our teachers are just too overwhelmed. But in the past, I did like send out like 3 different, every time we had the book club, which I think we did 3 books last year. It's not, it's not a monthly thing, but I always put, please list your preference of time. I did like a little survey so I could see, I think I always did it on Doodle, so I could see who, what the best response was. It usually turned out that after school, and we did have refreshments, the school didn't provide them, the faculty, but like somebody mentioned, like it was the same group of people that just kept coming back. So in the beginning it was really big, and then it just kept dwindling. And then we had, by the end we had maybe 8 people coming, which was actually a really nice size for our book club. But I'll be interested to see, I haven't had a chance to get it going this year yet, but I'm going to be interested to see if Zoom will be more inviting for people, because we can now host it in the evenings.
Right.
And how will a book discussion happen on Zoom? Like, is it going to be as natural and free flowing as what we have, when we're in person? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Somebody said they already have been doing it on Zoom.
Yeah, we did that last year, and it was usually after school. So it was maybe 4 to 5. And same thing, after a short survey sent to try to find what was the best time for everyone between lunch, never over the weekends, never. But it could be a lunchtime or 4 to 5, 5 to 6. 6 to 7 or something like that, and the 4 to 5 was always, the one winning.
That's good to know.
What were you going to say, Matt? Do you remember?
Yes. Last year I hosted a series, maybe like one or 2 book chats per semester during lunch. And like Michael was saying, I would just have it catered from Willie's, and those were pretty popular. The challenge is that we have 3 divisions, so we have a lower school, middle school, and upper school, and the teachers in each division go to lunch at different times. So then it was sort of like an open house book chat. So it was just like, come when you can and leave when you need to, which was kind of nice. But I guess part of the challenge there is that if somebody walked in 30 minutes after we started talking, then sometimes they felt like it was hard to insert themselves. And but it wasn't that hard, really. And I think that I got pretty good participation that way. We're not doing that this year because of COVID, so we don't want to all be in a room together eating with our masks off. So that's why I haven't done that this year, and I've been doing the Zoom book club meetings on Sundays instead.
On my
You're
side,
muted.
I'm thinking. Sorry.
I was just saying, I think we're gonna have a limit to how many faculty can sign up for, and I don't think we're gonna get, like, no one's gonna be, pushing at the limit to, like, be let into the book club. So I think that's the way we're, gonna avoid the COVID thing, because there are only gonna be a certain amount of people in the room eating. So, but yeah, that is definitely a concern. Sorry to cut whoever I cut off.
No, but I was thinking about maybe on a good day, trying to find a day where I could do at least, maybe if it's not a book club, but a book display or something outside at lunch. So it could be a good way to start, showing that we have those books and maybe be available to talk at least about the one that I read. And maybe starting to exchange this way. So it could be low profile. You are also outside, and I thought to do maybe the same thing for the kids later. Trying to find out the best way, not having to develop too much and putting too much pressure on the teacher and on the students without also investing too much prep.
I've done that with teachers, and I've done it with parents, and it went much better with the parents. The parents were very excited, very receptive, and I've had better success with parent engagement than I have with teacher engagement so far. But that was a lot of fun. It's a lot of books to put back on the shelf when you're done, but
what I realized
it was kind of nice.
I don't know how you are doing, but right now I'm because the kids are not allowed to be in the library and touch
Me
the book.
too.
So what we're doing, I'm starting to create those boxes and I continue my cataloging with that and genreification if I want, etc. And I keep the books in the boxes, so I don't shelve back.
Yeah, I have. There's a kindergarten class in the library now, so that's why it's closed to visitors. But I have my little spot, and yeah, my go-to books are just in boxes and crates. It's kind of easier for now.
Well, we're at, unless people have other things that they want to talk about or continue the conversation, then I guess we can wrap up. I see Brian is lurking. Just want to say hi, Brian.
Don't forget about my 3rd grade book club book, if you guys can find something for me.
Okay, I'll pass that on to Catherine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Michael, it looks like you were recording this. Is that right?
Yes, it says record. It just automatically started recording.
Okay. Does anyone mind if we share this with the group, with the rest of the GISL members?
Great.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for coming, and and good luck, and keep us posted with all of your endeavors, book club wise.
Until
Yeah.
next time.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Okay.